Let's start with paying homage to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Sanghang saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchāmi. Pānātipāta vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinnādāna vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Surāmeraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We will do some meditation before we begin. I invite you to close your eyes and do some mind cleansing and body cleansing with inner purity and focusing attention on inner growth. Taking a deep breath in and releasing. You inhale again and exhale. Once again, please, and release. Continue doing that. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Intentionally take full in-breath, filling the body, slowly and releasing it slowly. And continue this about 50 times. Allow your body to relax as you do the breathing awareness exercise. You may forget the number. You are just coming back to the target every time you get distracted. The goal is to fully breathe in, feeling the breath in every cell of your body. Notice any tight places of your body. Adjust to allow the body to relax. The back of your head, the backbone, your knees, and inhaling, exhaling is the greatest way to send fresh air and oxygen to these places. use preventative cultivation to see the growth of your mental wholesome thoughts. Okay, so hope you had a good meditation before we begin. And now about the story of Ālavaka. That's how you say the name, Ālavaka. Can you say that with me? Ālavaka, very good, very good. So he is a demon. A demon is not a good one. He does bad things. And I was listening to a talk in Sinhala, and I thought I will never find that story in English, but I did find it accidentally. So that's about his, that's about the background of this whole story. So I want you all to read it with me. And on the edge of the paper, some parts are not printed. This happens when I print it off from online. And sometimes I forget to just save the document before I print it. Save it to a Word file, and then I have margins before it's printed. But I know what is hidden in there, so not to worry. Let's read. Ālavaka lived near the city of Ālavi and feasted on human flesh. He was so fierce, powerful, and crafty that he was known as the demon. One day, the king of Ālavi went hunting for deer in the jungle, and Ālavaka caught him. So there's more to this, that this king told his group that we are hunting deer, and if the deer escapes from any one of you, it is your responsibility to catch the deer. And this time the deer escaped from the king. So he went running after the deer, chasing and chasing, went deep into the jungle, about 3 yojanas. I think that is about, 1 yojana is about 7 miles. So when the deer ran that far, it got tired and it stopped. So the king must have been a good runner to run that. And he was exhausted. So he sat under a tree after killing the deer, which is bad, so don't do it. And he had to show it as proof that he did kill. He didn't need the meat, but he had to show it. So he had to split the deer using his tools and weapons. I don't know what that splitting means. So he did that, and then he sat under a tree to rest. And at that point, the demon caught him. The king begged to be released, but in return for his freedom, the demon made a deal that the king had to send one person every day into the jungle as an offering to Ālavaka. The king begged him that, I can't come to this jungle. And the demon said, I can only eat something that comes under this tree. So you are under this tree, so you are my food. But the demon, the king said, okay, I will send somebody to this place every day. He didn't promise how long. That is the problem. The king, afraid of his own life, agreed. And he went, took a shower. People saw him very tired, especially his group. They asked what happened. He didn't say anything. He was like terrified. And he ate something and he told what happened to his advisors, and they asked, did you promise a time? Like how long? He said, oh, I forgot that. And advisors said, that's very bad. So something really bad is going to happen. Anyway, the advisor said, okay, let me make a plan. So this man went to the prison and asked the prisoners, who wants to be released? And everybody wanted to be released. And then who is most excited about it? There was one person. So they chose him and bathed him and gave him a pot of rice and asked him to go to so and so tree. Very bad. So every day after that, a prisoner would be sent from the palace dungeons. Is that how you say it? Dungeons. Thank you. Into the forest with a plate of rice. The wretched soul was told that to gain freedom he had to go to a certain tree, leave the plate there, and then he could go as he pleased. At first, many prisoners volunteered to go on that simple mission. But as the days went by and no one returned to tell the other prisoners what had happened, usually prisoners have a tendency to return to the prison. Yeah. The prisoners soon grew suspicious and had to be forced each day to go into the forest. Soon the prison became empty. How was the king to fulfill his promise of sending a person each day to be eaten by the demon? His ministers advised him to drop packets of gold in the streets. Those found picking up the packets would be caught as thieves and be sent to Ālavaka. When the word got around, nobody dared to collect the packets. As a last resort, the king started catching children for offering. His first suggestion was to catch elderly people, but then advisor told him, nope, people will not be happy about it. But even children, nobody will be happy about it. The terrified families of the city began to flee, leaving the streets deserted and the king completely desperate. So leaving the king desperate. There was only one more boy left, and he was the king's son. With much reluctance, the king ordered that the prince be sent to Ālavaka for the morning. That day, the Buddha happened to be near the city. So, when he surveyed the world with his divine eye that morning, he saw what was going to happen. Out of compassion for the king, the prince, and Ālavaka, so out of compassion for the king and for the prince and for Ālavaka, the Buddha traveled the whole day to the demon's cave. So, and in the evening he arrived at the entrance. This is what happens. When someone has huge merits, it's because of that he is caught into the Buddha's scanning. That there can be other people dying and they won't be caught into that Buddha's divine eye. This time the prince, the little boy, has been fulfilling perfections. Like, what are the perfections? Generosity, having good moral conduct, having good effort in meditation. So these, when you reach them to perfection, that's a person who is fulfilling paramis, perfections. So he has been doing that for, there was a lifespan, not a lifespan, a time span mentioned, about 100 years or something. It's a long time, with the intention of becoming future Buddha or someone. So this is not the demon, not the king, but the prince that was born. So that's why the Buddha decided to interfere. So the Buddha entered the cave. It says in the actual, in some other place when I was reading, that it's not an actual cave. It is a really huge mansion, but it is only visible to someone who has mastered the mind to that level, to be able to see such things. It's a mansion 3 yojanas high, means about 3 times 7 miles high. And so for such a thing to appear for a demon, this demon must be a powerful person who has done great merits in the past, although he happened to choose the wrong path of eating, depending on human flesh. Okay, the demon. So in this reading it says the demon lived in a cave. The demon was away in the mountains, and the Buddha asked the gatekeeper if he could spend a night at the cave. So just pretending like he just happened to be there. When the gatekeeper left to inform his master about the request, the Buddha went into the cave, So at that escape, the Buddha went into the cave, sat on the seat of the demon, which is not good, and taught the Dharma to his wives, which is worst. And when the demon heard what was happening, he hurried home very angry. With his extraordinary power, he created a terrifying thunderstorm which shook and rattled the forest with thunder, lightning, wind and rain. He had that much power. But the Buddha was not, and Buddha was unafraid. Ālavaka then attacked the Buddha by throwing his spear and club at him. I don't know what they are. But before the weapons could touch him, they fell at the feet of the Blessed One. Unable to frighten the Buddha, Ālavaka asked, "Is it right that you, a holy man, should enter and sit amongst a man's wives when the owner of the house is away?" So that was what he was worrying about. At this, the Buddha got up to leave the cave. Ālavaka thought, "What a fool I am to have wasted my energy trying to frighten this ascetic." So he asked the Buddha to enter the cave again. The demon ordered the Buddha 3 times to get out and 3 times to enter the cave. So that part is recorded in the sutra, in the hope that he could kill the Buddha with fatigue. Don't know if that is true. Each time the Buddha did as he was ordered, but when the demon asked to leave the 3rd time, the Buddha said, "No, do whatever you wish. Ālavaka, do whatever you can, but I'm going to remain here." This time the Buddha did not follow the order of the demon. Unable to force the Buddha to do what he wanted, Ālavaka changed his tactics and said, "I will ask you some questions. If you can't answer, I will split your heart, kill you, and throw you over to the other side of the river." The Buddha told him calmly, "There is no one, Ālavaka, whether man or deva, ascetic, Brahma or Brahmin, who can do such things to me. but if you want to ask anything, you may do so. Ālavaka asked some clever questions which he had learned from his parents, who had in turn learned them from their parents. The demon himself had forgotten the answers, but he had preserved the questions by writing them on gold leaves. The questions were, what is the highest wealth a man could have? That is the first question. And the next question is, what is the sweetest of all tastes? And the other question is, which is the best way of life? And the Buddha answered, the greatest wealth for a man is saddha, confidence. Saddha. What is this? Like confidence in the Buddha, confidence, especially for a demon. If you can have faith in me, that's going to be good for you. In this journey of samsara, dwelling in cycle of birth and death, if you have faith in what I say, it's good for you. And if you have faith in my disciples, that's good for you. That's what it means, confidence or faith. The true doctrine, when well mastered, brings the highest bliss. The sweetest taste is truth. Wise living is a decent way of loving life. Ālavaka asked many more questions, all of which the Buddha answered. The final question was, passing from this world to the next, how does one not grieve? The Buddha's reply was, he who possesses these four virtues, truthfulness, good moral conduct, courage, and generosity, grieves not after passing away. Being a generous person, being able to let go of anything in your life, having good moral conduct, that you don't do bad things like killing, stealing, etc., and having multiple affairs and exerting yourself with such things, and lying, like being honest. These things will give you a good birth. Understanding the meaning of the Buddha's words, Ālavaka said, now I know what is the secret of my future welfare. It is for my own welfare and good that the Buddha came to Ālavi. Ālavaka prostrated before the Buddha and begged to be accepted as a disciple. The next morning, when the officers of Ālavi came with the king's young son, they were surprised at the sight of the Buddha preaching to Ālavaka, who was listening attentively to the sermon. When the boy was handed to Ālavaka, he grew ashamed of what he had been doing. Instead of seeing the boy as an offering, he stroked the boy on the head, kissed him, and handed him back to the officers. After that, the Buddha blessed the child and Ālavaka. Indeed, the conversation of Ālavaka the cannibal showed how the Buddha, with his great wisdom and compassion, could tame a savage and change him into a gentle disciple. So this shows the quality of the Buddha's Purisa Dhamma Sarati. This is not Purisa Dhamma. Dhamma is doctrine. Dhamma come from Dhammane, so that is taming. So Sarati has a meaning which implies a teacher. The Purisa means men, which includes heavenly beings or any animal or anything, any being, and the Buddha had the ability to tame them, no matter how powerful they are. If they are mischievous, or if they are drunk, or using filthy words, the Buddha had the ability to tap into their mindset and instantly find ways to calm them down, and also in the end somehow they listen to the Buddha. That's his ability to tame people. So that's one of the 9 qualities of the Buddha, as we say, the 9, we chant them here in this booklet. I was trying to recall how we begin it actually. Thus indeed is the Blessed One, accomplished, fully enlightened, endowed with wisdom and virtuous conduct, well gone, pure in body, speech and mind, knower of the worlds, unsurpassed charioteer of untamed men. So untamed men, it's Anuttara. The Buddha is, unsurpassed, that no one can do just like the Buddha does in that way of taming. That's about the seventh quality of the Buddha out of this list of 9. So the Dhamma has 6 qualities and Sangha has 9 qualities. So it's 9, 6, 9. There's an organization in Myanmar, the founder of it is a monk. It's a 969 organization. Particularly, the founder's name is Viratu, but he is criticized for what he does. He is against Muslims in Myanmar. So I don't know how he does what he does. Looks like some Buddhist people support him and some don't. So that says a lot about the way he does things. So, or the way Muslims do things, I don't know. Okay, back now into the real sutra. We have about 15 minutes. This is from the Sutta Nipāta from Khuddaka Nikāya. That's what you see as SN on top. So SN, according to this classification in the first group, this is the 10th sutra. It's in the very beginning. And the reason I wanted to teach this is when we went to Cleveland recently, we had an overnight chanting, and this was a house blessing ceremony organized by a Christian family, former Christians, but now they like Buddhism and they know that monks do overnight chantings. It doesn't happen every day, and we accepted, Bhante Sankich accepted the invitation, and monks from Pittsburgh and Washington DC also came, about 12 monks. And in that chanting, this is one of the sutras we chant in Pali. See where a demon is involved and Buddha taming him. I can see how that can be included in the safeguard recitals. Especially it involves taming the spirits, and spirits who must have seen this, or who must have heard it at the time of the Buddha, because spirits have a long life. So some of them already have seen the Buddha. So upon hearing this, people believe that spirits will be gone from that house. Do you make that connection? Were you able to follow what I just said? So it's part of the Pirit Pota, the Pirit book. Pirit means safeguard recitals. It's one of the sutras that we chant. And I was, so from 2 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock, we have about 7 sutras, and myself and another monk took the responsibility to chant those. So then I thought I should include this in the discussion, because we haven't done it before. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying at Ālavaka in the haunt of the Ālavaka Yakka. Yakka means demon. Then the Ālavaka went to the Blessed One and on arrival said to him, "Get out, contemplative," or recluse. Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went out. "Come in, contemplative." Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went in. A second time, a third time, the Ālavaka said to the Blessed One, "Get out. Get out, you man." "All right, my friend." "Come in." "All right, my friend." And then the fourth time, the Ālavaka said to the Blessed One, "Get out." And then the Blessed One said, "I won't go out, my friend. Do what you have to do." And then he said, I will ask you a question. If you can't answer me, I will possess your mind or rip open your heart or grabbing you by the feet, hurl you across the Ganges river. My friend, I see no one in the cosmos with its divine beings, evil ones and Brahmas, means highest gods, its contemplatives and Brahmans, the highest class of men, its royalty and common folk, who could possess my mind or rip open my heart or grabbing me by the feet, hurl me across the Ganges. But nevertheless, ask me what you wish. What is person's highest wealth? What, when well practiced, brings bliss? What is the highest of savors, means of flavors? Living in what way is one's life called the best? Conviction, saddha, or faith, or confidence is a person's highest wealth. So what? Why? How can that be the highest wealth? Very good. Yes. I don't think we have a better answer than that. Being led on the wrong path can have consequences which are bad, and when you have faith that this is my path and you know it works for you, that way you are not hindered by other views, and you are not meandering here and there. So any more questions on that? Because we need to stop and learn too, not just read. When well practiced, Dhamma, when well practiced, brings bliss. What kind of bliss that it brings? Now this is Dhamma we are learning. Yes? It brings Nibbana as our final goal, and before that it brings you jhana experiences. It brings you freedom from your defilements, freedom from emotional, upheavals. So you make right decisions, you live a healthy life, not gaining overweight tendencies, and you can look at a person and tell, this person needs training in this area, so training in self-care. This person seems to get sick very often, maybe he needs some awareness in health, so just like that. But when your mind is focused, usually you are undisturbed about other people's chaos. It's very easy life when you have that, when you reach that level. You don't get angry and react to correct that person or this person. You're like, okay, whatever. You say that maybe you are right. So it's so freeing your mind when you are like that. But it's hard. So Dhamma, when well practiced, brings bliss. So in a way, say one Dhamma that we learn is non-self nature, not taking everything personally. How freeing is that? Your wife says something that hurts you. You're like, oh, these are things that hurt me because of me listening to what she said, and now that is something that entered into my mind. If it didn't enter, I won't be in this situation. Let me not take this personally. It just came and hit me, and then let it drop. Let it live there as long as it wants, but I'm not going to take it as part of mine. I do want to correct myself if she's saying something right. That will be bitter too, but I'm not going to react and get angry and throw stones, grab things, grab whatever that I can grab and then throw at such person. So that is Dhamma helping you. Okay? The truth is the highest of tastes. So there's a footnote. Let's find what that is. Yeah, this is apparently a reference to the concept of rasa in Indian aesthetic theory. For more on this topic, see the introduction to Dhammapada, a translation. I'm sorry, I didn't say that before. So, truth. So, asking a demon to base his life on truth must be telling him something, right? This man. Now, let me begin it this way. Now, we in Sri Lanka, we have some popular people. They are known as healers. And one thing they say is, if you want your illness be cured by me, you need to be a vegetarian. And you need to be truthful when I ask whether you are committed to that. It has to be lifetime vegetarian. So it's as if, okay, the universe is, I'm using the universe and the energy to heal you, but you need to change yourself too to deserve it. You need to do your part. You need to give up, let go of something. It's like Indian gurus asking, okay, I can bless you, but what will you give up? This is when the donation, I will give up $100 come. It's easy, it's like you are buying it. But you need to sacrifice something in you, like you need to yes, change of lifestyle. You need to say, okay, I will only speak truth hereafter, or I will keep 5 precepts, I will commit to my wife only. Such things are, real sacrifice you can do, lifestyle changes. Why is it? Is it going to benefit that healer? It's definitely going to benefit you. It's you who is going to be benefited from it. So, truth. When you always speak the truth, especially in Dhamma practice, if you ask a question like, say, I ask this question like, is it meaningful, the work I do here? Is it really beneficial, or do I have a different motivation? Am I doing this for popularity? Am I doing this for asking donations? Am I doing this for the maintenance of the temple? Or am I really doing it to teach Dhamma? When you ask those questions, it has the power to even stop what you are doing. Sometimes you have to stop at some point and say the things that others would not say onto your face, but you say it to yourself. It's like your voice telling it to you. And then it's very bitter when you hear that sometimes. You're like, it's a call that awakens you. And you as lay people also, people who want to travel far in the path to Nibbana, is this meaningful? Ask that question from yourself. Has it helped me? Or is it just, am I doing it because the temple asked me to come? I'm sure there is learning in here. We are like, Dawn has the interest also learning about how we monks think in terms of culture, like what cultural aspects we have in our heads, right? When we say certain things, she says, I'm interested in that too, because we want to see teachers being formed here too, and she has that interest. So anyway, if it is helping you, it has to help you to learn these little things in detail. That is my goal. So give up something for me before you leave. Living with discernment, one's life is called best, which means living with wise attention. Giving attention to what is right and not giving attention to the wrong stuff. Easy to do? Not really. And he asks more questions. How does one cross over the flood? What flood? We are all washed away with the flood. Flood of birth and death. We know we die. We know we will be born again. How to cross over the sea? Again, the sea of life and death. It's an ocean where we are stuck. How does one overcome suffering and stress? Deep questions. This makes me wonder whether this was actually a demon. How is a person purified? So inner purity. How do we gain inner purity? So again the Buddha says, through faith one crosses over the flood. Through heedfulness means you are alert, not giving a chance. The sea is crossed. Through persistence, one overcomes suffering and stress. Through wise attention, you are purified. And then he asks more questions. How does one gain wise attention? How does one find true wealth? Your own wealth. This is my wealth. How does one attain honor? How do I become a good person? It's a valid question to ask. How bind friends to oneself? So how do we make a friend to yourself? You don't need anybody when you are a friend to yourself. And then his last question, passing from this world. Does he ask more questions? In that set, his last question. Passing from this world to the next world, how does one not grieve? And then the Buddha said, having faith in Arahant's Dhamma for attaining unbinding, heedful, observant, one listening well gains discernment, doing what is fitting, enduring burdens, one with initiative finds wealth. Through truth one attains honor. Giving binds friends to oneself. Oh, actually, how do we make friends? This is asking about not to oneself, but how do we make friends? One way is to give. People appreciate that. Don't just give to random people, they will. Like we discussed on Saturday morning, right? You remember? The man is giving $1,000, $2,000 to. Yeah, you were there? Yeah. I only remembered him. You were there too, yes. I met this person in Illinois, in retreat. He's living here and he's sending money to someone in a different country. Haven't even met, but he expects as a reward that this woman, although she's married, will one day have an affair with this man. It's just delusion and personal insecurity. That's his answer. He was sitting there. He said, "This person needs to work on his insecurity feelings." So there was a lot in there. Let's go back in. So when you have faith in Arahant's Dhamma, that is Buddha's teachings, Arahant is someone who has reached to the end, and then you attain the unbinding. Unbinding is freedom from bondage. No children, no attachment to this life, no attachment to any wealth that you have accumulated. Heedful means you're very mindful and alert, not delaying anything in terms of your practice. And observant, you are observing your mind, because you can do many activities, but your mind can be doing nasty things. Then you need to be observant of what your mind is doing. And you pay attention, you give ear and then you gain more wise attention. Should I pay attention to this or should I pay attention to that? So you divide your thoughts and go in the right direction. Doing what is fitting, that means doing what is right. Basically, abstaining from things that you should be abstained of, and then that's your restrainment. Like I would say, keeping 5 precepts. That is what is fitting. Enduring burdens, which actually means you make effort, and one with initiative. So you begin your practice and then you start looking for your true wealth. Currently, if you are doing your first jhana as your mastery, meditative absorption, that is your true wealth. And you find more wealth through practicing that. And through truth, speaking truth, one attains honor. You say you do something and you do it. And when you give, you make more friends. Like I am giving Dhamma, therefore we are all friends. And I say sometimes, I suffer, you suffer, therefore we are friends. Somebody else saying, but I like it. Endowed with these 4 qualities, truth, self-control, stamina, like you can keep up with removing defilements, relinquishment, which is letting go, a householder of faith, on passing away, he doesn't grieve. See those qualities again. You lived your life based on truth, you lived your life based on self-control, you had the stamina, you let go, which means you were practicing generosity. You gave when you had any opportunity to give. And then when you have lived that kind of life, on passing away, you don't grieve. Means you don't have any remorse at the passing away. There is so much freedom that you are ready to go. Very hard to do. Now, go ask others, common Brahmans and contemplatives, contemporaries to the Buddha, if there is anything better than truth, self-control, endurance and letting go that can be found worthwhile spending your time on. So this is the Buddha asking. And then Ālavaka says, how could I go ask others? Because I understand what benefits me and what benefits my next life. And then this is like he's praising the Buddha. It was truly for my well-being that you came to stay in this town, Ālavaka. Today I understand where what is given bears great fruit. Means today I understand that people will offer alms to me because I am based in truth and I will be living like a recluse hereafter. And therefore they will offer me food and I will depend on that. That's how I understand that part. And he does say that I will wander from village to village, town to town, paying homage. So that's one sentence. I will wander from village to village, town to town, becoming a monk. That's how they commit to a monastic life in that time. You just need a ball and you put on robes, and your life is a monk. You don't stay stuck in one place, like Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara and teaching. That's what had happened to us. Instead of wandering from place to place. Paying homage to the self-awakened one and the true righteous of the Dhamma. So he will do that hereafter. So the Buddha was able to ordain him and give him. So he was perhaps a human being who was doing cannibalism, surviving on flesh, and perhaps he was possessed by a demon who had those things. That's when someone does eat stuff like that, we say, are you possessed by a demon? Sometimes they eat raw meat and we say, are you possessed by a demon? We don't say it on face, but if you are friends, you will ask such things. When they do non-human things, we ask, are you possessed? So, especially when they are angry, we ask, are you possessed? So, it's powerful also because this man finally committed himself to becoming a monk, and then where he says, what is given bears great fruit, meaning you see a monk and you make an offering, a wandering monk, and you make an offering, and now he see the point of that. That is because that monk is committed to the qualities that we discussed: truth, endurance, letting go, and self-control, wise attention. And such person has no possessions, and therefore let me as well be a person like that, and when people give me, they will be happy, they will bear fruits of their giving, because I am also one like that. Any questions? Yeah.
I wonder if is there significance to the, he asked the Buddha to leave 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and the 4th time he said no. Is there a significance to the 3?
Well, we see that many other times in different stories, and this is like the Buddha would obey certain times, but then also not instantly control the man, but begin to confront. I'm not going to listen to you any further. That is, every time I chant, I like to wonder about that. What is the significance of that? It's interesting he did that, to show how humble he is. Usually people feel terrified and ashamed for going into somebody else's house. Get out! This is my house. It happened to me in England. So in Oxford, I booked a hostel for my stay to see a professor, and accidentally I sat in the bed of the other person. He came and said, "That's my bed." And I immediately called the Oxford temple, and I left the place and I went there. I didn't feel safe to sleep in a place like that. And as I found out, one of the friend monks from university happened to be living there, so it was good. I went. So it's like you accidentally sit in somebody else's place, and even then the insecurity. I didn't want to confront the man. I'm not the Buddha to do that. Besides, I didn't have an agenda like that when I went I just needed some rest. I took the train from Bristol to Oxford. Yes?
Yeah, 3 times maybe we take time to calm the person, that time we land.
Yeah, to show that,
First you obey, so he
yeah,
comes down over
yeah. What is recorded is only so much. We don't really know the entire conversation. This is what the Buddha's attendant remembered, the cream of the entire thing. And he lived so many years and died an old monk, and he was not even an arahant until the Buddha passed away. So he was just interested in this part, perhaps, and that's what we get. We need to always remember that this is the Ananda canon. Yeah, right? Yeah. Ask a question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not even you will ask these kind of questions when you first see the Buddha, right? Yeah. Perhaps. Or it is a made-up story to get the attention of to the doctrine part. Finally, we have to say that too. Yes, taming elephant is one of the stories. This is a popular, very popular story. Books and books have been written on this. Saddharma Ratnavaliya, Amavatura, Buddhasarana, all these books. They're based on this. Like monks, yes. Paintings. If you Google, Ālavaka paintings, a lot. You walk into a temple in Sri Lanka culture, you see paintings of the Buddha taming Ālavaka. A huge, in Thailand also and in Burma, huge demon on the wall and the Buddha there calmly, sometimes under a cave and sometimes there's a palace behind, a divine palace. Well, it's weird now with using graphic. People, have created images. I don't know if I can show you some. I did Google though.
It's like long feet like this and crazy and like monster.
Usually, just imagine a monster that you have seen in these horror movies, and it's, if you come closer you will see. I pressed on it but it won't load because we don't have see here the Buddha on this side.
Okay, yeah.
And then this is the demon and this is another and those ones also, different images as people. This is definitely a Thai one. Anything that has that
Right.
pinnacle like thing,
Okay, thanks.
sometimes it's I see like Yoda like this. Do you see this?
What do you like?
Yeah?
You like
Ālavaka, just Ālavaka. Don't call his name at night though. No, he did commit, looks like he's no more as he ended his journey there. Boy, he was a lucky man. If you think of it, like whole samsara is in front of you, and he knew that he had to cross over it. If he gets stuck in it, being born as a helpless dog, like a camel in Australia, shooting them and killing for saving water, stupid decision. You are stuck in samsara. It could be you or your mom or someone that you cannot even rescue, but they are in that situation. Being born as a fish, or even Bodhisattva was born in, the Buddha to be was born in as squirrel and different beings, but always was a good one, usually helpless because of their animal birth. Anyway, I asked you to pray for my friend's dog. he's dying of cancer, lymphoma, in Boston. So, and with that in mind, let's conclude today's discussion with transferring merits. But we answered your question, right, Pujita Mahatma?
Yeah.
Okay. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, Devas and Nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.